I'm guessing that this one gets a little less sightseeing action, as we had to come down Long Street or long lane as you were.
Wide lane.
And then cross through some fields, jump a creek. The Bliss House. Captured and burned.
Why does it have a second core marker on it?
I don't know. It's a good question. Probably something that the history books would elaborate on.
What's that say?
It said advanced skirmish line of the 1st Regiment. And then it's kind of washed out there. Probably needs re-etched. July 2nd and 3rd, 1863.
Oh, so the Union burned it out. Coming out of that wood line. And this is what you see, and it's nothing but artillery and infantry line after line.
Yeah.
And you're still going to walk towards it. And you're probably getting shelled here.
Yeah. There's got to
not
be
accurate. It's probably not accurate fire.
Dense with gunpowder and lead ball, no doubt.
This fence didn't stand up to it.
No. Failed. I bet this fence probably isn't more than 50 years old.
Yeah, it's beat though.
Yeah.
I don't even know if we're allowed to be in this area, but hey.
Well, I mean, it's not the most well-traveled path, but it's definitely a beaten path. So, because it's mowed down and there's tire tracks, I doubt that our 4 feet are gonna really mess up too much. Besides, we're infantry. We go wherever the hell we want.
That's right.
We're talking about the austere environments in Civil War time, and how rationing was down to what, a 3rd pound of bacon?
3rd pound of bacon a day. It's like four pieces of bacon, really. But there was a townie in Gettysburg who, right before the Confederates started moving in, he went, picked all of his vegetables out of his garden and said, they're not going to get one bean from us, because the Confederate Army was starving by the time it got here. They didn't have a lot. That's why Lee even invaded the North, to give the southern farms a break, because they'd been whittled down. It was 1863. They'd been at war for what, 2 years?
Yeah.
So, but he picked and he said, not a bean. You know, we're not taking a bean. They're not going to get a bean from me. He picked all his garden, took it inside.
And you were saying the South would send out victualling parties?
Yeah, to get, you know, to pillage the towns, and then they'd give them Confederate money as payment, which is worthless.
Well, it's worth something now.
Yeah.
But yeah, those victualling parties, they'd raid the larders, they'd raid the grain houses.
Look at that.
Raid the fields. I'm sure they'd take a few liberties with the women. Why not? It's not your sister at that point.
You're there.
You're there. We're just commenting on the Segway Tours. Apparently they all have like little radio earpieces in. The guy in front, he's micing in the tours he's giving it, and they're all just following ducks in a row. But you know, I figure if you're not old or crippled or an invalid, you might as well walk this park. It's not that big. There are plenty of other guys that walked it. Doing a little map recon.
So, if we do that, we're right here at the Virginia Memorial. We can go across. We were here. We are already there. There's the Bryan farm. Poor guy. We can go to the angle, the copse of trees. That's the center of the Pickett's charge.
Well, let's walk the path and we'll end up there eventually.
Yep.
And there ain't no reason to go backwards, because that North Carolina Memorial, they can eat shit.
Yeah, North Carolina can eat shit.
Yeah, especially the 30th.
So
We're talking about the copse of trees.
So if we turn around and see that copse of trees right there next to the barn, that was the center that they were going to. Everybody in the line, they were all going to it. But now, imagine you had the Ohio. Their line is all the way up there. They're firing into the flank of these of the Confederate troops all getting to that copse of trees. They're getting flank fire. So if you're on the far left flank of the Confederate advance,
yeah,
you're getting chewed up from the front and the side. All to take that to break the middle of the Union line.
going up the gut.
They got it too. They broke it for a moment. They took batteries.
That's some Marine Corps tactics right there.
Yeah. And they ran out of artillery 20 minutes before they kicked off.
Going out without any fire support, that kills your maneuver. Yes, Joe, you most assuredly did tell me there would be horses. I said there might be some liability there and potentially some large piles of feces, but apparently they do have trails that are dedicated to horses. So, for instance, this is a horse and hiking trail, no bikes, no cars.
The Confederacy named their divisions after the general that was leading them, not the Union, you know, the Federals, First Corps, you know, all that. These were, hey.
Well, they had a lot of turnover on generals as well.
Yes, but the Confederates did not unless they died.
Yeah.
You got to remember too that Stonewall had just died. So Lee was coming after the Union Army. They didn't have Stonewall, and Stonewall was his most trusted. He lost, you know, Lee lost his right-hand man, and Longstreet became his right-hand man.
Hood was a pretty good brigadier, probably one of the best brigadier generals in the war itself.
Pickett's division.
Yeah.
They were here. So they were guarding trains at Chambersburg on the 1st when the fighting took where we're staying.
Right.
Then they marched on the 2nd, which is the second day of battle. They didn't reach here, and they were in the reserve.
9 a.m. on the 3rd they reached it, so 22 miles. It wasn't like there was Highway 30 there.
Casualties, 2,888 casualties.
Got 'em.
2,888 casualties.
That's on the 3rd day of battle by the time they got here. They got here in the thick of it. 1,499 missing. Could have been missing as in not accounted for as killed or wounded in battle, and probably not accounted for properly on the exfil on the ambulance trains.
No, they were dead.
Well, I don't know.
This is mostly a dead number or captured. But
they're unaccounted for.
Your division's gone, so he was right.
Nearly 1,500 motherfuckers.
He said, what division?
Yeah.
Look,
gone.
Almost 3,000 men gone in an instant. There was a gift shop, and they had all these cool shirts for the infantry, marching into the jaws of death, all this, but I don't think it was that, because I never went to that we were at, that Cyclorama.
The visitor center?
I don't know, but they had a bunch of, it was a small building, so I don't.
Might have been off-site.
Oh, here's interesting. Armstead, right? So, here's a story about that. Lou Armstead was good friends with Hancock, and when they charged during the Pickett's charge, he ended up right next to Hancock. He died. Lou Armstead died as he reached that copse of trees. I believe he
sprang over the wall into an angle and continued the desperate struggle until he fell mortally wounded beyond the stone wall.
Yeah, Lou Armstead, his best friend at West Point was Hancock, and he was right across the line. When he fell mortally wounded, Hancock wasn't more than 10 feet away from him. They were best friends. because he had asked Longstreet, because he was in Longstreet's corps, that if it presented itself, could I go speak to my old buddy? And well, it presented itself, but he died. Crazy.
I got a cell phone. God damn. I'll give you a call on the weekend or something.
You know, when Longstreet was ordered to do this by Lee, he said, "Are you sure you want?" And Longstreet never questioned anything.
Right.
He said, "Are you sure? Are you sure you?" And Lee knew it was a bad idea, and all Lee did was nod, which he'd never done before. Longstreet later on said he'd never seen him do that. He nodded, said, "Okay," and then. And I
You're right, there are no trash cans around here.
Kemper was wounded near that stone wall I was telling you about. That
Yeah,
Armstead
he
blew
fell
up.
wounded in front of the stone wall.
Yep, yep.
How about you?
But here's the good thing about Longstreet's corps and all his divisions. They had, like we were talking about, they had some of the best generals, and the men loved them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when Lee came out of the wood line in front of this line before they charged, the people erupted. They went crazy. Like, they loved all their generals, all the way from Lee down.
Imagine it's like a Leonard Skinner concert circa 1973 or something.
And a lot of times, you know, when they left here, they don't tell you what happened after this battle. They were harassed all the way until they got across the Potomac.
Oh yeah.
They were almost decimated. Because for the first time, a Union Army actually went after them. Because that's one thing the Union Army never did. They just call it a victory and be like, "Oh, okay, we're good.
Yep.
Let's just sit on our haunches."
No
here."
advance after combat. Never forget, even though a lot of carpetbaggers retire there, Florida was part of the Confederacy. We're just talking about how this walk road isn't that challenging. So I decided to light up a Lucky Strike. Make it just a little bit more
Uncle Mike's
enhanced.
jerky.
You sure you don't got old Dick Trapper in there?
Who's old Dick Trapper? My bad.
That's the shit that falls through the grate at Uncle Mike's. They just sweep that shit up and put it in a bag and call it Dick Trap or Old Trapper. So this is Burdan Avenue. We were playing a game the other day, and I was the Union, and I got to maneuver Burdan's Sharpshooters. They're part of 3rd Maine Infantry.
Yeah, so the Burdan Sharpshooters, they're made for screening, to basically stop a whole unit in its tracks so they can't move.
Give them harassing fire, lock them down, halt their advance.
They would hit every once in a while, but their main thing was to slow an enemy down as they were coming up, to slow their movement, you know. So
Provide intel.
that's it. They're kind of like cavalry without horses.
Yeah.
Cavalry does the same thing. They screen the enemy and then reports back to positions. They didn't really report back because they couldn't.
Yeah, it wasn't like that in radios.
They were kind of out here on their own. They're like scouts.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing their position's down here.
Want to head
Probably
down
at
that
the
way?
beginning of the battle. It's up to you. We can.
Nah.
We can continue this way.
Yeah, stick to the main road. So across the street is the Longstreet Memorial. You were noting how Longstreet basically took over for Stonewall Jackson.
Yeah, after Stonewall died, then Longstreet became Lee's right-hand man, but he never really lived up to Stonewall.
Oh, could you?
You couldn't. I mean, they named a brigade after the guy, even after he left command of his brigade to take a whole corps. It kept the name Stonewall's Brigade. even though it wasn't commanded by Stonewall. It's the only one in the Confederate Army, I think, that they did that. I could be totally wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's... But yeah, they never fully recovered after Stonewall, like I said earlier. Longstreet was their best bet. Longstreet was good, but not... he was no Stonewall. I think that's him back there.
Yeah, let's go check out his memorial. Yeah. I mean, not that we couldn't step over. I thought I did too. I'm guessing not to scale.
No.
Yep, just cannons all along the line. Like you'd mentioned, they were running out of ammunition before the battle was ever
Before they even stepped
engaged.
off. Yeah, before they even stepped off, they had no ammunition to fight. And they were withdrawn.
You were saying how a disabled horse is basically a dead one.
Yeah, 37 of them back there.
Yeah. I'm thinking
The smell.
might end up becoming a good meal for old Johnny Reb.
The smell.